Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here today. We are diving deep into the discussion about using social media. For some of you, using social media is very natural, something you guys are doing all the time. And for others, we're starting and approaching social media using maybe one platform and then potentially adding others later. So, we're going to dive into all the different social media platforms, how they benefit you and your business, and also to discuss some of the features that are shared among them and the kinds of content that you should be including on all your social media platforms as well. Feel free to take notes as always in these advanced classes. However, I will be sending out the slide deck afterwards to everybody who was a participant here, so you don't have to furiously take notes. Just jot down what you think is most important. You will get the slide deck after. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns before we get started? We got an extra person coming in here. All right, let me move your faces, your lovely faces around and share the screen. Okay. All right, let's get cracking. Let's talk social media. So why is social media so important to your business? I think for a lot of people, we know and we understand that social media is a really important tool to use as a real estate agent in terms of branding and in terms of showing our business and our transactions to the public. But it really is even so much more than that, and it goes beyond that. I would say social media at this point is probably the single most important tool in your arsenal to be able to create a business, to build a business, to nurture your spheres of influences and your customer base. So social media allows you in like the most amazing way to be able to stay connected to, updated on, and in touch with your sphere of influence and clients in a way that like is unprecedented and has never really been before there was social media. You would only be connected to and very close with the people who you used to like see in person frequently or that you would call frequently. But those that you were acquaintances with or just knew sort of on the fringes of your sphere of influence, you really didn't have the ability to know what was going on in their day-to-day life the way that you can now with the access that you have using social media to do that. So the amount of information and knowledge that you have about people that you know in your life is so much more now than ever before. And in knowing those things, it allows you the opportunity to reach out and prospect with those people and to make those additional connections and know when important things are going on in their lives. So it also allows you to build new connections. There are many times through social media where I end up in a conversation in the comments section with people who I don't personally know, but that have started to comment on it that are in the sphere of the person that I was originally having the conversation with. So you can use groups even to expand your sphere of influence, to meet people online, and to continue to grow your network. You can use social media to show that you're a local area and real estate expert as well, not only by photographic evidence, by checking in, using the checking in features to be able to show that I'm here at this particular place of business or that I am participating in some kind of local area activity. So it puts you and places you into the neighborhoods and the areas where your clients are expecting you to be knowledgeable. The best part about social media too is that you can easily post any activities that you are doing that touches real estate that shows that you're a productive and hardworking real estate agent. And I find that sometimes agents have a hard time with this concept because we're initially thinking, hey, the activities and the posts that I'm going to be putting on my social media have to reflect some kind of success story, right? That I have buyers that I'm working with, or that I have a listing now that I've just taken, or that I just closed on something. When the reality is that your daily life and your daily journey being able to be posted and shared on social media is what is really going to define that and prove to your sphere that you are productive and hardworking, even if you don't have any actual business going on. But of course, you do want to highlight your success stories. So when you do have listings and you do have closed and happy clients, that you're definitely going to post those things, but that there is so much more to you in between those success stories that also needs to make it onto social. And in doing all of that, you are inadvertently developing your own personal brand. It becomes your voice, it becomes your journey, it becomes who you are, and that's what you're sharing with the world when you're putting it on social, and that's what drives people to you and want to do business with you. Okay, so do we all kind of understand now why social media is so important? It's not just that I have a business page that's out there that people will come to and look at stuff. It's not just that, like, sometimes I talk about it on my personal page. It's that you are utilizing it and fully focused on it, and that everybody is part of that journey with you. So the different social media platforms that you could be using would be LinkedIn, potentially. Is anyone in the room currently using LinkedIn as a social media tool? Just going to scroll through. Thanks, Maddie. Yeah, some of you do. Okay, great. LinkedIn is definitely a more formal professional platform used for business networking. Definitely does have a place in real estate, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But if you don't have a LinkedIn page at this point, that's okay. Certainly not something that you have to jump in and do immediately, but just kind of think about the different ways that they could be useful for you. Facebook, on the other hand, I think pretty much everybody has a solid Facebook presence, or should at this point, allows really for more of a 360-degree presence. Okay, this is everything. It's personal, it's professional, it's a day in the life, it's you being you. And really where most of the bulk of the social media traffic is happening. Instagram, a very hot close second. So if you're not an Instagram user at this time, that's okay, but definitely something for you to start considering moving forward. It's definitely a more casual, visually driven platform than Facebook is. Facebook kind of does everything. You can have text post, you can have video, you can have photo, you can do all kinds of different things. And Instagram is typically more photo and video forward. Okay, so definitely more of a visual situation. TikTok, probably newest to this list. Anybody in here a TikTok creator at all? Does anybody do or create TikToks or Reels? Some. Okay, I always get that a little bit of a, I wouldn't even call it a mixed response. It's usually like a, I might get one out of a whole room when I ask that. But definitely something for you guys to think about, not necessarily because you want to be the next TikTok influencer, but because you can use the features that TikTok provides for you that will help you to create content that is usable then on other social media platforms that are more within your comfort zone. It does help to display and create the different video content, which will help you with engagement and also helps you to connect with your clientele in a nice, easy, bite-sized, fun kind of way. Okay. Now, I will tell you that social media platforms have different demographics, and you probably all know what these different demographics are, and that might help to explain why you might want to include more presence in one place than the other. Okay, so with LinkedIn, this is definitely more of like a business networking situation. It doesn't necessarily feel as invasive when you're connecting with someone using LinkedIn as potentially with like a Facebook or with an Instagram where you're kind of more involved in that person's personal life. So LinkedIn is definitely more professional networking. When you connect with somebody, the first thing that they typically are going to see is your work information. So it's kind of like an online resume, sort of like handing out a business card. It's all very like work detail focused and work experience focused. And then you're building out a business network. It's a great way for you to connect with like current clients if they have one, and peers from your previous lives, high school, college, coworkers that you used to have, and other professionals. And also with professionals who you may want to work with or utilize in your current business. So you could get yourself connected to vendors, service providers, lenders, all kinds of different things. Okay. You can also connect with other real estate agents, and it's a really great opportunity for you to give a good online business impression and also start to obtain recommendations and reviews there. Okay. I will tell you though that LinkedIn is not exactly the best place to go to for lead generation. Okay. Lead generation is definitely much more realistic when you're talking about working with platforms that have more of a personal connection, a bit more interaction and engagement, where you can establish that a little bit more. LinkedIn, at least for a real estate agent, is definitely more professional networking kind of activity. Any questions about that? Okay. So let's talk about Facebook. When you're talking about social media platforms, does anybody know what Facebook is regarded when it comes to demographics and age groups and that kind of thing? How does Facebook rank? Who typically is using that? Go
Older
ahead, it's a
people.
safe space. Older people. Thank you, Joy.
That's what my kids told me. They're like, only old people going. I'm like, great, thanks.
When did they tell you that?
Like 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say, that's like new information for you, isn't it?
Wow, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, I know, right? So, unfortunately, Facebook is regarded as the old people's social media platform. I'm just going to say maybe because it was the first. Does anybody remember MySpace, which is now pretty much defunct at this point? There's no such thing as MySpace anymore. But there was MySpace and Facebook way back when, and they were vying for the top position, and Facebook won, and it's a much different product than it was when it first rolled out. And I'm ashamed to share, I was one of the first users of Facebook, so I am aging myself considerably in saying so. And it's much different now. But Facebook being more of the older demographic still is the most important of the social media platforms, because even though the younger generation regards it that way and are not active users of Facebook, they all, or a good chunk of them, do actually have Facebook accounts and a Facebook presence because, as Joy said, it's the only way that they can stay connected to their older generation friends and family members. So that's kind of what they're doing. And also, Facebook really is still the go-to place to do research on businesses, to do research on people. I mean, a lot of times I'm not even looking up websites for companies anymore. I'm going to look for their Facebook page to see like what their hours are, where they're located, what kinds of things that they're doing on their pages. So everyone, for the most part, is using Facebook, but they're using it differently. Okay. You should have, for Facebook purposes, a personal page and a business page for you guys as real estate agents that is off that same account. I know some people who have like an account for their personal, and then they create this whole other account for the business page, and that is not intended. It's not the right way to use Facebook. So it starts with a personal page. That personal page is where you guys really should be reflecting constantly what you're doing in your life, and that should include real estate. So you're also going to be staying in touch with your sphere of influence this way. These are people who you have connected with as friends, so you can see what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. You can see when their birthdays are coming up. You know what is happening in their lives. You just have to take that next step to make sure that you are being purposeful about that and using it towards your prospecting and using it to help increase your business. So look up the birthdays. Anytime you see anything of note, something significant in somebody's life on their pages, you're going to take it off of Facebook and put it into a note card or a text or a phone call or something that's going to make that more impactful than just leaving it online. You're also going to want to make sure that you're including a lot of real estate content. I have several agents who are like, oh, yeah, I have a business page. I put all of my real estate activities there. And then I go and I look on your personal page and there's nothing going on there. Why are we hiding all of our great real estate activity from the people who are ultimately going to be using us for our services? It's something that I'm very strongly passionate about and that I share with a lot of people who I'm coaching, is that it's very important that we're not being secret agents to the people who are going to feed us the business and refer us the business and very often be working with us directly. Okay. So you need to make sure that you're putting that part of your life on your Facebook page personally as well, so that people are on that journey with you and believe that you are a successful agent. So I give you an example here. Amy Sullivan posted recently that she's drinking coffee at Idea Coffee and that she fueled up today after morning showings at the new Idea Coffee in Mount Joy. Be sure to check it out. The French toast bagel was amazing. This is the kind of stuff that needs to continuously go on your personal page, because I don't know if you missed it or not, but there was just a little bit of drop that there was showings that she was doing that day. But the post itself is not about real estate. Okay, it's about her being somewhere, a normal post that she might do otherwise, but that we've touched real estate in it. And it's a very nice light reminder to my sphere of influence, to her sphere of influence, that she does real estate. Y'all see that? How would she get that there? At the same time, you also need to be running a Facebook business page. This is your public facing page. The people who like or follow your business page do not also see the things you're doing on your personal page. and the people on your personal page cannot see what is happening on your business page unless they go and follow it. Okay, so even though you have that connection, it doesn't mean that everyone else in it does. And it's kind of like having your own mini website. You have to have a very good, strong Facebook business page presence because pretty much everybody's using Facebook as the website anymore. Yes, it's good to have a good website. It's good to have an interactive website, but it is most of the time websites themselves are not engaging. They're not interactive in that way. You can't be making connections with people like that. So your Facebook business page has the capacity to do all that stuff for you. It should be very well branded. And we give you guys cover photos that meet compliance requirements and that look extremely professional and are branded and the whole nine. If you go to the Google Drive through Home Sales Center and search for cover photo, or just to go to Home Sales Center even too and search for a cover photo, you'll get to that Google Drive. And this should be a mix. So on your personal page, we were talking about these should be like day in the life of a real estate agent, all the things that I'm doing in my normal course of business or my normal life that sometimes involve real estate. And your business page should also have a really good mix of content. Yes, this is where like you should have articles and infographics and informational kinds of things, but that it should also include parts of you so that you can start giving potential clients who are not connected to you on a personal level an insider's view about what it might be like to work with you, who you are as a person, how you do your business. It should include your day in the life photos and activities the same way that you're having them on your personal page. Don't forget to include them on your business as well. Places that you're going, things that you're doing, so that I'm a little bit of business and I'm a little bit of personal, but not so personal that they're with me on vacation. Do you know what I mean? So, but just enough to start getting a flavor of who you are as a person, so that if Stephanie is thinking about working with Joy, and I go to look up Joy, and I'm like, well, I don't really know her, so I'm going to look up Joy Evanston, real estate agent, and see what I get. If I end up on a Facebook business page that's empty or is just full of clearly automatic articles, I don't really get a sense of who she is or whether I like her or want to work with her. Okay, so that's kind of what you guys have to think about is if somebody's Googling me and looking me up, what are they seeing? And are they going to feel any kind of connection to me at all? Okay. That Facebook business page also allows you to do sponsored ads and boost your posts that are performing really well, and also gives you an opportunity to get customer reviews. So it's a really good, engaging kind of way to connect with people who are already working with you or have interest in working with you, and to continue to brand yourself and sponsor your ads and get out there and meet new people. Questions about that? Okay. Instagram. Who's using Instagram? Don't cheat, Maddie. What's the demographic for Instagram? I'm curious what your answers are. How old do you think these people are? Any thoughts? Oh, come on. We've got some. What's that?
Millennials.
Millennials. Thank you, Heather. Mm-hmm. And how old are the millennials? I just want to get a temperature check. How old are millennials?
30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah. 28 to like 35, 36.
Yes. That's a very good encompassing number. I'm always shocked to hear that people are still blaming millennials for the young generation that's coming up now. Millennials are way older than you think they are. You cannot continue to blame the millennials. They are all very much adults at this point. Most of them have their own children now too. So yeah, but we're talking about that age group that's sort of between like 28 and 40. Yes. 28 and 40. All viable home buying age at this point, very solidly in their adult years. They are not the youngest of the generation anymore. But they are typically the ones using Instagram the most. This is where they're spending the majority of their time. A lot of them, the older millennials, do also have a Facebook page, and they're kind of running them together. But for the most part, Instagram is way heavier. It is for that reason that we say to you guys, this is the second runner-up, the number 2, hot on the heels of Facebook. So once you kind of have your Facebook cadence and rhythm and presence put together, you really should be forward thinking towards having a good solid Instagram presence as well, because that younger generation is exclusively using that to interact. Okay, they might look you up on Facebook, but if you really want to have impact, Instagram's the way to go. Instagram's more casual, so you can mix up your work and your personal life. There is not necessarily a need to have a personal page and a business page completely separate. It kind of becomes a business decision of yours to make. But because it is so personal and casual and kind of more open, I want to say, the boundaries are a little bit more blurred there. I think more people are allowed to follow and see the kind of posts that you're doing, and it doesn't have to be so separate. Okay. The main difference between having a business page or a personal page here is that a business account will give you the same kind of insights and statistics that the Facebook business page does, and a personal account doesn't. Also, business accounts allow for automatic posting through your Facebook business page, whereas just a straight up personal page would not. So you would have to make some decisions there as to how you want that to work. But ultimately, like, Instagram really is meant to be more candid and more you. So I'm not really even like that much of a super fan of having automatic posting here anyway. I hate to wash out Instagram when it's actually very still casual and real. Well, as real as you can get with social media. let's be honest. If you decide to utilize your personal account exclusively, I would suggest that you make it public so people can find you very easily. So there's that thing, that piece of it that you have to consider too, is how public do you want to be if you're using your personal account. Okay. Like I said, it's more candid, it's real, it's in the moment, it's very visual, and it's very community driven. There's a lot of hashtagging, tagging, adding locations, just having a lot of fun with it here. Okay. Questions about Instagram? Okay. All right, TikTok. Let's talk TikTok. Regardless of your feelings on TikTok as an application, which we are not going to discuss in this class, I'm just going to say that the app itself is very useful for you guys when it comes to creating and editing and sharing the videos. And there is no, there's no, I don't want to say it like in a negative way, but there's not really like an age excuse either, because we're seeing a lot of agents in a lot of the different offices who are older agents and have completely embraced the idea of TikTok and having tons of fun with it, and creating all kinds of content. So, but when you're thinking about who was traditionally using TikTok for videos, we think like the real young people, right? So this is going to be like 18-ish, 19 up until like maybe 25, all about the TikTok and the, being an influencer and all that. So, but the reality is that the app itself is extremely useful for being able to take small video clips or photos and clip them in together, to do voiceovers, to do music over the things that you're doing, to add filters, to add stickers. So there's a lot of ways that it's very useful. The other thing too is that it really helps to break down into small bites these very large real estate concepts and ideas that can sometimes be overwhelming for people, or really scary to go talk to a real estate agent face to face about if they're not feeling as serious as you are about taking the next step. So you can see there's an example here. This is Chris Castro in the Harrisburg office asking, is it true more VA loans are getting accepted in this market? And it's just kind of like very small Q&A kinds of things, or bullet lists where you can like use your finger to like pop, and then on the screen it'll like pop up with things. And then you can reach people in a way that feels safe and educational, and then you may even be able to garner a following and produce leads that way. These videos that you create using TikTok can also then be shared to Facebook or Instagram, and it would load up as a reel, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Any questions about TikTok? Okay, now there are some features that are shared across both platforms, both Instagram and Facebook. This has become even more true now that Facebook and Instagram are all under the one umbrella that is Meta. Okay, so they all basically do the same thing and communicate to each other. The idea of hashtags. I think by now most people know what a hashtag was. When I first started teaching this class, I want to say only even like 3 or 4 years ago, the hashtag concept was still difficult for a lot of people to understand, and I think it's kind of now commonplace and everyone gets it. but I like to think of it more as like a way of categorizing posts, categorizing conversations or topics, and filing. It's like a filing system. So that if you were to search a specific hashtag, you would get multiple posts from whoever has used it, and it's all based on the same thing. So you'll see it a lot of times when people are getting married, they come up with a cute little like moniker to use for the wedding, and then it's like hashtagged. So if everybody uses the same hashtag, all the photos everyone took will be filed under that same category. Do y'all understand how that works? It's the best way of explaining it. However, the hashtags are only going to work if your post is public. So you have to be aware of that. There's not really any sense in adding hashtags if you have it limited just to your friends. So you would have to make it a public post. And then, of course, you'd be able to see it. You can have lots of hashtags. And sometimes you'll see people that just have like these massive paragraphs of hashtags for filing the posts that they do. And I'm sometimes asked, how on earth are they doing that? Are they typing them every single time? No. You can use the notes functionality on your phone to type out all of your hashtags the way that you want them and copy paste it, which is more likely what they are doing, or whatever else you need to do to kind of make that a quick and easy for you. Hyper-local hashtags will keep you from getting too lost in a library. So for example, it would be like if I said hashtag real estate, there would be like millions and millions and millions, and I'm just going to be one of millions of posts on about real estate. But if I do like Lancaster County real estate or something like that, it becomes a smaller subsect of that larger library. Okay, so think about that. Start thinking about the kinds of hashtags you might want to use and to be filed with. But you do also have to consider other content that may be posted using the same hashtag, and be careful not to accidentally end up in a library that you weren't intending. Whether it be something that is like political that's happening, or spelling errors that put you into the wrong types of libraries or whatever. Yeah, so you just have to be careful about that and sometimes check that out. But you also want to use maybe potentially consider a unique hashtag for you. If you have a slogan that you want to use, you can hashtag it. If you just want to tag everything to like Jen Jones Realtor, for example, you could do that. So something to think about, but certainly not a requirement. Okay, both Instagram and Facebook will hashtag. Reels is a version of is Facebook and Instagram's version of TikTok's functionality, more or less. Okay, so they have built their own internal version. Obviously, yes, you can go to TikTok and develop your videos there and pull them into Facebook and Instagram, as I had said before, and then they would show up as a reel, but it would have like TikTok branding on it, which is totally fine. Or you can just stay within the Facebook and Instagram platform and create the reel right from there. The functionality, I think, in TikTok is always slightly ahead of what Facebook and Instagram do on their reels, but for the most part, it's almost exactly the same. And reel has just become a general term anyway for any videos on Instagram at all. Okay, reels typically are not terribly long. They should not be terribly long. We're not talking about like a 5-minute video here. These all should be like very quick, 30 seconds or less kinds of videos. Okay, questions about reels? No, we're all good with that. How many of you guys have attempted to do the reels on Instagram or Facebook? Either one of you? Heather, yeah? Okay.
Reels are a huge pain. That's what on Instagram, but
I have found that personally to be true. I've used TikTok and I've done Reels on both platforms. I find that it is easier to whip together a TikTok. And even still, I mean, it takes time and it can be a little bit of a pain, but it's less of a pain doing it directly in TikTok than it is to do it as a Reel. I find that sometimes it's hard to find the music or the voiceovers that I'm looking for in Reels than it is in TikTok. But, you know, if you're not trying to do anything too crazy, Reel is just fine. Okay. All right, any other? Latoya says yes. Fabulous, good. All right. And then stories. Stories is another feature that is shared across both platforms. Stories is a little bit different, and it's not a post that actually shows up in the news feed, and it's not a post that stays in your profile. So it's one of those things where it's a very, it's like a 24-hour snippet that goes into the stories section, which is separate from the rest of the news feed. What I find recently that's been happening with agents that is a little bit of an imbalance is that, like, depending on the age group and the demographic, younger people typically like to use the stories. They'll go into the stories, they watch story after story, and they go through the whole story highlights and reels, but they don't then do a lot of posting. And then sometimes I'll see the reverse where we have like people who are used to the posting and not used to the stories doing all posts and no stories. You have to remember that now that there's like such a huge mix of how that's happening between what we're talking about with like 25-year-olds all the way up now to, you know, however old, everybody's looking at social media and interacting with social media in different ways. So you can't be wholly focused on doing stories all the time and never making any posts that stay on your pages. And you can also never be that, you can't just be posting all the time and never any stories. Okay, so it is kind of becoming more and more important now that there's a balance of stories and posts that are happening. So you're making sure that you're in front of people in whatever ways that they want to see you all the time. Okay, so what I'll say is, like, if you're only ever posting on stories, you're missing a lot of your sphere of influence. And if you're looking at your story view count, that should be painfully obvious to you. That, like, if I have 600 friends on Facebook and I go and I do a story and I look to see how many people viewed it, it'll be a fraction of that. So you're really missing out on the audience base. It needs to be both. Stories expire after 24 hours unless you have chosen to save it as what's called a highlight, but you definitely need to do a mix. Stories typically are minimal text, so you can see a couple of examples there. It's almost like a mini reel, but you can just be like a static photo, and it can have little stickers and flashy things and text and music, and you can kind of have like a stamp on there that says where you are and check in at a location. But it's kind of like a quick snippet of a moment in your life, versus having it be like a full post. But there are some ideas you can use for real estate. We can do behind the scenes of an open house, maybe a sneak peek of a new listing, a day in the life with you showing your buyer properties, or a day in the life of you as a real estate agent. There's also poll functionality, so you can ask questions and get feedback. And then with the Instagram highlights, that allows you to make your story viewable for longer than 24 hours and to feature them on your profile. So that might be things like client reviews or tips or seller advice and that kind of thing. Okay, so start thinking about like what kinds of things that you would want to communicate that might be better as a story or might be better as a post. Okay, but there has to be a mix. Questions about story functionality. Okay, and it's one of those things that you just have to play with. You don't have to worry about getting it perfectly right the first time. It's just a matter of working those kinks out and getting it done. So there's all kinds of content that needs to go into your social media platforms. And one of the things that a lot of agents really like is the option to have automatic posting. And there are a couple of ways where you can make that happen for yourself. Soshi is a resource that the national brand, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, recently rolled out that we're super excited about. This allows you to automatically post across multiple different social media platforms, from LinkedIn to your Facebook business page to your Instagram business account through it, Twitter, and also, if you have it, but don't stress if you don't, a Google business page. Okay, and most of us do not have a Google business page, but the functionality is there. It allows for you to edit and approve pre-scheduled content, which is mostly going to be things like articles and infographics and fun kinds of things for people to engage with and interact with. And it also is connected to our Home Sale Hub content, so you can also pull in like our social media graphics and things that we have created for you at Home Sale as well. It does run constant analytics on how the things that you're posting are performing, and you can go and view that and turn that on by going to the bhhsresource.com, their social media section, and turning on Soshi. Okay. Also, in our own Home Sale Center, we have something called Social Media Connector, And we would recommend pairing that with Sochi because that has automatic posting that happens on all your social media pages as well, but it's more transaction based. So I can include automatically any new listing I have, open houses, solds, blog articles, client reviews through that system as well. So if you turn them both on, your Facebook business page will be loaded with articles and automatic content and transaction based things, which is good so that it's consistently being updated with that variety. However, as I was talking about earlier, it's really important that you are also filling in the blanks with as much candid, real day in the life stuff that you are doing in between all of that. Because I don't want to go to somebody's Facebook business page and see only articles and nothing about their actual real estate life and what they're doing. So it's social media. You have to remember this is social. And I get questioned a lot by agents asking, well, are there more things I can automatically post? Can't I just turn it on and let it post all the time? And you can, but you always have to be thinking about the person on the other side who's looking at your page if you are interesting and engaging enough for them. Okay, and too much automatic posting kind of strips that away from you. So we give you some ideas here of things that you could potentially post that's more engaging than that. So if you're attending a Zoom training session for any reason, it gives you a great photographic opportunity. Take a picture of your workspace or of the screen or whatever. And it's really just all about the spin that you use, the tag that you use, taking the opportunity to learn the latest real estate resources to be the best for my clients. Okay, so it's not necessarily saying, hey, buy or sell with me. It's just reminding everybody that, I stay educated and, I'm involved and I'm doing something. You can also kind of almost do it in the reverse, where you take a picture of you doing something completely personal and then tying it back to, I get to do all of these fun personal things because my job gives me the flexibility to do that. Okay, so I get to help my friends and family with real estate, but I also get to go hang out and do whatever on a Tuesday afternoon with my kids. Okay. When you are doing work with actual clients, whatever it is, document that. I'm on showings today. I'm writing an offer. Cross your fingers. Let's hope that they're going to win. You know what I mean? And just take a picture of something that's safe, maybe like the bright MLS screen instead of their actual offer documents. So you're not showing their names or their amounts or whatever. But the average audience person is not going to be paying that close of attention for what's on your screen, but it's plausible. Every time you go to the office, document that you're at the office, document who you're with, what you're doing all the time. Videos are a huge thing. The more comfortable that you can get doing videos and expressing yourself in that way, the more likely you're going to have people who follow and engage with you and are willing to listen to you. So if you're getting the same questions from people all the time, that's a great opportunity to address it on a video. And then you could use that for future marketing purposes or whatever. My favorite is to take market statistics and break that down into video form instead as well, rather than just sending off an infographic or an article or whatever about what's happening in the market, is be the educator and explain how to impact her and what that means to them. Okay. So as much of this constant, I'm here, this is part of my life, this is who I am, there should never be a question when somebody goes to visit either your personal page or your business page, because all of these things should be happening on both. There should never be a question what you do for a living, and you shouldn't have to forcibly say it. Okay. Here are some examples. Okay. Somebody took a picture of Miss Michelle Gemmel sitting in the middle of a lake on a canoe, getting offers done in the middle of kayaking this morning, just waiting to hear if we won in a multiple offer situation. Need a house to hold your boating toys? Call me. So she really she went around that a couple of times. That was really good. So floating office, there she is doing something totally personal, but tying it back to real estate. You can take a picture of yourself wearing your real estate gear, okay, and throwing that on there. You can take a picture of your kids or your pets that are also involved in settlement. This is Roberto Perez's son, Mateo, and he very frequently attends settlement with his dad, and he always gets very snazzy and jazzed up for the event. So he takes pictures of him when he's being especially cute and posts that, and oh my gosh, the number of comments about how cute his son is, but he snuck in the fact that we're going to settlement today. Okay, and if anyone wants to talk about real estate, give my dad a call. Okay, and I see that a lot with dogs and cats too. Call my mommy, call my daddy for the pets. And then of course here too, the crazy things that you see when you go out on showings and stuff. So like there's wallpaper on the ceiling here, which is not something that you commonly see. And so off the wall, sort of interesting things like that, you can absolutely post and say, you know, hey, here's something funny I found or something cool. You know, if you're thinking about listing or buying, give me a call. Okay. It doesn't offend anybody. It doesn't push anybody away, but it just reminds everybody in your sphere and on your social media that you are actively out there doing real estate, even if you're not actually selling. Let's talk about targeted advertising. You can create your own targeted ads for a number of different things, and this would be on business pages only. So if you do this through the Berkshire Hathaway Resource Center, we have a system through Chalk Digital that allows you to create like ad packages, to customize them, to produce entire ad campaigns if you would like to do that. This is a little bit different than like boosting an ad or boosting a post that you already have on your business page, but it allows you to kind of create a systematic advertising campaign. So those prices will vary depending on what it is that you're trying to get accomplished. But if you would like to, pop in there and just look to see what their options are. You can even get as far as creating some things just to see what they look like, and then it's up to you whether you finalize it and make the purchase. But you can do self-promotion things. You can try to get people to click through to like, what do you think your home is worth, and have them come to you that way, or push out your listings. Okay. Just a quick reminder, we already do a 14-day new listing targeted ad for you and a 2-day open house targeted ad for any open houses that you're doing. So there are ads being run for you. This would just be if you wanted to do additional. A quick reminder about Home Sale Hub. Is everybody in the room joined at this point with the Home Sale Hub? I'm hoping so. This particular Facebook group, I think, has the largest following with home sale realty agents of all of the different options. A ton of incredible, valuable pieces that our agent services department are cranking out for you guys all the time. You're welcome. It's a very big deal. It's a lot of work that they're doing for you guys, and all of it is free for you to use. Keeping in mind, this is a closed Facebook group, so you can't share off of it, but you can like copy. So if there's an image or something that I really like here, I just have to hit copy the photo, and then I can go put it on my personal page or my business page, wherever I want it to go. And there's some examples here. Okay, so they create pop buys for you, pop by tags. They'll create items of value and articles for you, infographics and social media graphics, and they're always refreshing that with what's happening in the now. So you'll always find something new and exciting there. Okay, so tips and advice overall for today's class. Make sure that you're always putting yourself in your viewer's shoes and ask yourself, is this something that my audience actually wants to see from me, or is this just where I'm comfortable and what I am comfortable posting? There's a big difference there. You do have to put yourself out there, not only on the platforms that maybe you're not comfortable with, but also to put yourself out there in different ways. Video, for example, that maybe you're not comfortable with. But you do want to be authentic. And I think that's a lot of times why people don't like to do the videos, and they don't always like to snap selfies and photos, because they're concerned that it's not going to look perfect. And the thing is that real is always better than perfect, always. People want to see who you are and how you are and engage with you that way on an authentic level. As always, we tell you guys, start now. The only way to get better at something is to do it and start practicing it. I remember there was a time I did not understand stories myself. So it was many years ago, and I was like, what is this? But it does. It's important to get out there, start using the things, get comfortable with it and familiar with it, and just keep practicing. Like and follow other local businesses, cross-post with each other, use the @ sign to tag them in the photos or in the posts that you're doing. Not only does it notify the user, but it will also help to increase your reach, because then people who follow them will also see it. Try to ask questions, things that people will actually respond to. It doesn't always have to be real estate related. Some of the most engaged posts are whether or not candy corn is good or not. So if you put that on your business page, you'll get a lot of people who will say, oh my gosh, candy corn for the win. And then you have the right answer, which is, ooh, they're gross. Candy corn, not for the win. But things like that will get people like engaged and talking so that they are more likely then to continue to come back and see your page content. But create a schedule, create a strategy, always be consistent. You can't post one time about real estate and then let it go for 6 weeks and not post anything else, because that sends the reverse message. It shows that you are not that successful and you're not that busy. So you want to make sure that you are kind of being very consistent about the posting that you're doing, and definitely time block yourself to address that social media need. Okay. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts or concerns about social that I didn't cover? Okay. I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with. Take some time to think about that. After class is over, I will send you the slide deck so you can go back and review again and come up with your ideas and strategies for social media posting. Thank y'all for being here. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.